Hey y'all, how's it going? It is Saturday, March 28th? Yes, March 28th. Sorry. Uh, haven't checked in this week. It's definitely been an interesting way. It's been an interesting few weeks. But, I, I didn't work in the office yesterday. And so I'm like, oh, I forgot. Because now it's my habit. Now I didn't do it. But anyway, so I thought I'd check in today. And, there's a lot on my mind. Um, it's the weight of everything that's happening is definitely starting to bear down on the community, if you will. Uh, People are, including me, people are stressed and they're mad and they're hurt and they're all the things. There's so much. Well, you know how it is when there's so much unknown and a lot of insecurity and all these kinds of things, all of our starts coming up, right? And as is typical, we tend to take it out on each other. Um so yeah, I'm just seeing that. And uh things get a little bit more creepy as the days go on. Um I mean, I think most of the folks who know me know that I don't, believe it or not, I don't sit around watching the news. Uh, it's I, it's just like I'm super political and super civically minded and civically engaged, but I don't do politics in that way. Like I don't sit and just take it all in all the time. Like I'm not going from one news update to the next. Or watching the drama play out between electeds or any of this kind of stuff. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for the personality of politics. Um it's funny with my wife is if you even pretend you're going to think about saying something about politics, they will get up and leave the room. It's funny. But talk about community, policy and how decision making impacts our community. I talk about that all day. But the game of politics, the chess game, checkers half the time, I can't stand it. It's uh that's probably one of the biggest reasons that I have not yet uh run for office, because I've just there are a couple of people who have seen me get to the end of my rope and just lose it, right? And uh, get really direct, really quick. Uh, Whether I should be more nuanced or not. And so I can see myself doing that. I'm like, do I really want to go through that? Do I really want to be in that environment uh, where you really honestly can't be truthful with each other? I think I'd go off the rails. So that's the biggest hesitation that has actually been there all this time. We'll see how it goes. But I think we're also at the same time. I I also don't regret being that way either, because at some point, somebody in the room has to actually tell the truth. Somebody in the room has to actually lay it on the table. And I absolutely can pinpoint the 50,000 bajillion mistakes that I've made over my lifetime. Um, and I'm not ever afraid to talk about them, uh, or to admit to them. Really, like there's no, it is what it is. Uh, but the level of not being able to be real that permeates the electoral politics environment, um, and the elected, the legislative environment, all these things. There are so many amazing, amazing people who have gone into politics, and they're in the legislature. Amazing, amazing folks, but will still throw us under the bus if they really need to in order to get something done that they want to get done. Everybody gets pushed to that point. And I just don't think I'd be super effective because I don't know if I'd let myself get pushed to that point. I'm like, y'all could take a hike, go on, take a hike. It's just I don't know if I'd be able to like hold my tongue, right? So I don't know. Anyway, I was thinking about that, um, and just really, I don't know, recognizing that first of all, it's interesting. And I know that I'm not old, right? I know that I'm not in the winter of my life, as they say, but I'm not that far from it either. And it's been really the last 5 years. I mean, obviously, with the pandemic, you might as well just tack on a decade to everybody's life age because that's what it feels like. Um, and just knowing for probably multiple generations at this point how much trauma and how much what's the word fallout is going to play out across humanity, as it were, um, because of the pandemic experience. There's a lot of empirical study and all these things about the 1917, 18 flu epidemic and all that. And pandemics in general are like huge, large loss of life things that happen in history. Um, but it's just interesting to think about that's going to impact generations, and we haven't even begun to wrap our brains around what it's done to us in real time, right? Uh, it's and then if it weren't for the pandemic, I don't think we'd be actually experiencing what we're experiencing at the moment. Do I think the pandemic caused it? Is caused this chaos that we've come into, and the shifts that are happening? Do I think it caused it? No. I think that I think it helped accelerate things. I mean, we have to realize how mm, teetering our society, I guess, was before the pandemic ever even got here. The systems that we rely on, the systems that we're building, it's just that it's become more accelerated, and there were openings punched into the, I don't know, fabric of time by the pandemic that have created opportunities for a lot of things to happen really quickly. I think they were already happening, absolutely, but it feels like it's just come out of nowhere, and a lot of that just has to do with the fact that we also live in a society that um, encourages us not to know what's going on, and at the very least, not to see it, not to believe it, tune it out, whatever the case may be. And now we're experiencing the repercussions of that. Um, and the reason that I connect that to my age, two reasons. One, when you get to a certain age, let's see if I can find a granny voice for that. When you get to a certain age, you really actually do reach a point of, I'm not internalizing that. I'm not putting up with that. I'm not going to shy away from that. I'm not going to pretend that something is okay. And I'm going to focus on and be really real around the things that I know are right. And I think that more than anything is what, when folks get older, the old, like the cranky old man, cranky old woman, or whatever. Yeah, you're super cranky because we're pissed off. um, and and we don't I say we, my experience so far in aging in this body, um, uh, I can tell you right now, menopause, postmenopause, uh, you know, get out of the way. It's like, it's very much all tied together. It's just interesting. Um, but there really is something, at least for me, that has happened in experiencing the last almost decade of my life and being in a position that requires me to keep an even keel. Yeah, actually, in general, most of the vast majority of the time, I'm pretty calm. Like, I don't freak out. I don't, that is one of my strengths, and I recognize that. It doesn't mean I'm not feeling anything on the inside. Uh, I just don't lose my shit that often. Um, but I'm also recognizing that uh, as many boundaries as I've set in my life, some of them, um, what's the phrase? Not on purpose, unintentional. Uh, I'm I have more boundaries now around some things than I've had in a really long time. Um, I think that comes from, I think it comes from what I do for a living. Really, it's, at some point there's only so much of me to go around, and there's only so vulnerable I can allow myself to be, uh because it can be dangerous, physically, mentally, emotionally. And I haven't always consciously dealt with that, right, in terms of my own response to it, and setting boundaries to not allow that to happen. Um, I mean, I'm experiencing some of that right now. Uh, because there's a, facade's not the right word, but kinda, because of what I do, uh, I just have to set up boundaries. I have to create walls. I'm really good at creating walls. I mean, my entire life is I mean, when you're a survivor, you create walls. Um, but these walls are a little bit more intentional recently, and you start thinking about. And again, I think I mentioned this in a recent video, one of the last few videos. Don't get excited. Don't don't start chomping at the bit. Uh, but I do have to think about what comes next, right? The people around me have to think about what comes next. Um, and believe me, we think about what comes next. Uh, and all that goes with that. And I'm okay with that. And that's the thing that I think I probably want to relay more than anything else is that I'm okay with that. Uh, because what I do for a living has really defined my life, and I'm okay with that. It was a choice that I made, right? Uh, but it's not all of who I am. And, that's just, I think sometimes there are folks who kind of sort of make the assumption that, yeah, that is actually all of who I am. And it's not. It's just not. Uh, I have I have family. I have uh, a complicated family, and I have goals. We have all kinds of things. And I know I'm speaking in lots of like broad, strokey kinds of things. I get that. This is my video version of vague booking. Vague booking. Um, but because I think sometimes because I don't just share Orama everything. I've shared probably more in these videos in the last however long I've been doing them than the entire time I've been engaged in this community. Um, but you know, Gremlin is. Hold on, let's see if we can. Oh no, he's walking around. Gremlin, come here. Hold on. We're gonna take a break, y'all. There you go. There you go. Gremlin, say hi to everybody. He's like, whatever. Oh, see? Look at those eyes. Okay, I'll let you go. He's super cute. Anyway, I was off on a ramble. I know I was. But yeah, just thinking about everything. Thinking about the big picture. Thinking about what comes next in all the different kinds of ways, right? Because a year ago, what I thought comes next is totally different than what could be coming next right now. Our entire world is changing. Our entire environment is changing. So what does that mean? And again, going back to feeling, not feeling old, but feeling my age, recognizing sort of where I'm at in my seasons, I guess. Uh, that I have way less time ahead of me than I have behind me. Um, and I don't know how to put it into words, but for some reason that puts a spin on how I think about my priorities, uh, future, for better for worse, right? Decisions that I make now, the things that are important, all this kind of stuff. And I know that anybody who is my age and older is like, girl, we've been telling you that. Where you been? So, I guess we all have to get here on our own, right? We can't just take anybody's word for it. We have to experience it. Um, but yeah. Uh okay, I don't think Bubba's gonna leave me alone. Anyway, I think that's enough ramble for now. I have some actual plans for some future videos that I want to do and some actual topics that I want to talk about. But I'll leave it there for now. Y'all have a good weekend. Stay safe. Uh, enjoy the coolness while we got it. So, take care.